All of us want to have a peaceful and comfortable body and mind. But how can we understand our mind so we can return to the constant happiness within us? Should we force our body and mind to reach peace and happiness when pressures surround us? To achieve that, first we need to understand each part of the mind and lighten them. Let us watch this whole sharing video so we can gently bring the body and mind back to peace and happiness. Hello everyone, I am Tan from the Lotuszentan channel, sharing about meditation for a peaceful mind. There are moments when, even if you turn off all the lights, put your phone aside, we lie down with the wish to truly rest. Inside you suddenly becomes more restless than ever before. Countless nameless thoughts with no beginning or end, vague images, fragmented memories. Unspoken desires and worries you thought you had forgotten, all linking together like an endless stream, making you feel as if your mind does not belong to you. You did not call it, but it comes you want to stop, but it pushes you further. And then, in the middle of that endless movement, sometimes you ask yourself, why can I not be at peace when everything outside is already quiet? Why does the mind never stay still even for a moment? In that very moment, what you are facing is not tiredness or pressure, but the wandering mind, also called distracting thoughts. The silent mechanism inside the mind that runs automatically, without waiting for your permission and without needing your control. In meditation, people often compare the mind to a wide lake, originally calm, flat, and clear, but with just a very small breeze passing by. The water surface immediately forms waves. Waves are not the nature of the lake, distracting thoughts is not the nature of the mind. Both are only temporary movements arising and fading away, but if we keep letting the wind blow without stopping, if distracting thoughts keeps arising continuously, we will forget the original stillness. You are swept away by the stream of thoughts because they are too strong, too frequent, too continuous, making you believe that you and those thoughts are one. That confusion in meditation is called being led away by the wandering mind. And when we observe it long enough, we will know how to find peace right inside those movements. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose, fills your chest, and reaches down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. From the stillness through the breath, we realize the wandering mind is not bad, not dangerous, and not something that needs to be destroyed. It is simply small movements of the mind, created by memories, experiences, old emotions, cognitive habits, neural reactions, and everything you have ever encountered in life. A very small sound can make your mind create hundreds of scenarios. A stranger's glance can change your emotions. A passing sentence can trigger memories, bringing back very old feelings you thought were buried. A random thought can open countless assumptions about the future that you have never verified, making you sometimes happy or sad without knowing why. Those movements do not wait for your acceptance. They do not ask whether you want to think or not. They simply appear according to the natural habit mechanism of the mind. The wandering mind arises, pauses for a moment, disappears, and then a new thought arises. Nothing stays long, but because they come too fast, too many, too continuously, you believe your mind has never been quiet for even a second. In fact, between two distracting thoughts, there is always a very tiny, very subtle silence. But because you are too used to the inner noise, you never notice it. And if you just pause a little, breathe slower, and observe your mind like watching the changing sky, you will start to realize something very important. You are not the thoughts that are running, you are simply the one who sees them. When that happens, the wandering mind is no longer something that drags you away, it is just waves passing over the lake's surface. And the lake is still there, wide still, never lost, and you are still there. We will go deeper into the question, where does the wandering mind come from? Why is it so strong that it can make you sleepless, uneasy, and tired even when nothing is happening? And how can you recognize it right when it first arises, moment by moment, breath by breath? You just need to place your hand on your chest, breathe softly, and continue listening to your feelings through your body and mind. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose, fills your chest, and reaches down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. When you begin to sit quietly and look deeply into the subtle movements inside your mind, you will realize that. The wandering mind is not just competitiveness, a few passing thoughts, but is like a thick fog silently covering within. Created from countless memories, emotions, desires, wounds, and long-term habits. Things rooted so deeply that you cannot tell where they begin or end. And that very lack of clarity makes the wandering mind one of the strongest forces driving your life without you even knowing. The wandering, by its true nature, does not appear out of nowhere. It has a complex mechanism like small waves continuously rising on the surface of the sea, and only when you look with deep stillness. Can you recognize that each wave is formed from three main roots woven together like invisible threads? Root 1. The wandering arises from memories and old imprints. Any experience that goes through your life, even a glance, a sentence, a pleasant moment, or a small wound leaves a very thin imprint in the mind. And just one tiny trigger in the present, such as a familiar sound, a passing scent, or even a hard-to-name feeling can instantly awaken those memories, making them move and create a stream of thoughts that you think belong to now, but in reality are just dust being stirred up by the wind of the present. You see an old scene? It means the mind releases thoughts activated by old images. You hear a familiar song. It means memory pulls you back as sound activates emotion. You touch a feeling. It means the mind immediately weaves it into a story. And the strangest thing is, you do not choose to call them up. They rise by themselves, spread by themselves, disappear by themselves, just like steam rising from the ground after rain. Root 2, the wandering mind arises from subtle desires and inner cravings. The human mind always wants to want peace, to be loved, to be understood, to be safe, to succeed, to sleep easily, to worry less, to suffer less, to feel comfortable, and each desire, even very small and reasonable, becomes a reason for the mind to create countless predictions, imaginations, thoughts, fears, and hopes, weaving things that have not happened yet into endless stories, making you believe you are thinking, while in fact you are just being pulled into the stream of illusions created by the very desires you have not fulfilled. When you want things to go your way, the calculating mechanism arises, searching memory, making the wandering mind stronger. When you want calm immediately, the wandering mind grows stronger. When you want to sleep, but the mind refuses to calm down, the wandering mind becomes even more intense. Even the desire to be still is a very tiny and subtle form of the wandering mind, because when you want stillness, the mind resists you. Like a guitar string pulled too tight will vibrate more strongly. The third origin deluded mind arises from the unconscious reflexes of the six senses. Every time your eyes see an image, your ears hear a sound, your nose touches a scent, or your body feels a very subtle vibration, the mind reacts instantly before you even recognize what that reaction is. And these extremely quick and unconscious reactions create countless tiny thoughts. That appear in an instant but are enough to pull you away from the present moment without you noticing. A small noise makes the mind tense. A light makes the mind analyze. A phone notification makes the mind rush after it. A long silence makes the mind immediately create content to fill it. The six senses are constantly operating by reflex, so the deluded mind keeps running without stopping. You are not wrong, you are just being replaced by your reflexive mind. Why is the deluded mind strong enough to control our emotions, our sleep, and our decisions? Because from childhood to adulthood, we only know how to live by distorted thoughts? Live by reactions, live by the stories we create, to the point that we mistake those thoughts as ourselves. And this very confusion allows the deluded mind to become the one steering the boat of your life while you sit behind it. You are used to reacting before observing. Used to believing a thought before understanding where it comes from. Used to letting emotions lead you without seeing that they are only short waves. And because you have been used to this for many years, the deluded mind becomes the strongest energy in the mind, stronger than awareness, stronger than the breath, stronger than the inherent peace. The deluded mind is not strong because it is real. The deluded mind is strong because you have fed it for too long. How to recognize the deluded mind the moment it arises. You do not need to suppress, do not need to fight, do not need to chase away, do not need to fix anything. You only need to see. A thought appears, quietly say, the mind is imagining something, thinking about something. An emotion arises, quietly know, a wave is coming, I observe how it appears. A memory returns, just recognize, an old scene is passing by, I know it just showed up. No rejection. No holding. No analysis. No adding more stories, no pleasant or unpleasant. Just see very lightly, see like watching a cloud drifting across the sky. Clouds drift, but the sky remains wide and calm, unmoving, silent, and awake. When you see the wandering thoughts, you are no longer inside them. You stand outside observing them, and when you stand outside observing, they cannot control you. Like standing inside a house watching heavy rain through the glass, even if fear or excitement arises, the rain still falls, everything remains the same, and you do not get wet. And when you begin to see each wandering thought clearly like that, your mind becomes more awake. You will recognize that beneath all these continuous movements, there's always a very peaceful, very wide, very still, very bright foundation, like a calm lake beneath rippling waves. Whether you create emotions or calculations, it is still the same, and when you simply stand and look, it also remains the same, still silent. So how do you return to that still lake? How do you let the deluded mind settle on its own without forcing it? And how do you bring that silence into life, work, sleep, and each moment of daily awareness? You only need to take a gentle breath, observe your body and mind, and continue with me. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose, fills your chest, and reaches down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. When you have seen the unstoppable running of the deluded mind, this is the moment we step into the most important part. Returning fully to feel something you have had since birth, but has been covered by years of inner noise. Which is the still mind, the clear mind, the mind that is not pulled by any wandering thought. And to touch this deepest part, you do not need force, do not need excessive effort, and do not need to strain yourself to keep the mind. You only need to gently open a wider awareness than the thoughts passing by. Imagine that each thought running through your mind is like thin clouds floating across the sky. If you look too closely, you might think the sky is only clouds, but when you step back a little and widen your view, you will see that the sky is never completely taken over by clouds. The sky remains behind, silent, spacious, untouched by the clouds. In the same way, your true mind is always behind all wandering thoughts, silent and bright, waiting for you to pause long enough to notice it. Take a deep breath, and let the breath out slowly as if you are releasing an entire day of fatigue. Inhale, gently follow the breath as it flows through your nose, fills your chest, and reaches down to your belly. Exhale, feel the breath leaving through your nose and notice your belly softening and sinking. Then one more breath, gently, letting your mind slowly settle from its tension. And in the moment the breath touches your body, observe what is inside your mind. It may be drifting thoughts, environmental sounds, or a vague nameless feeling. Everything is allowed to be there. Everything needs no fixing or resistance. This non-resistance, this allowing, opens the door to the deepest silence. Because in meditation, silence is not the result of pushing thoughts away. It is the result of looking directly at them without being attached. You see them but do not chase them. You hear them but do not react. You feel them but do not identify with them. When you can do this, even when the mind is wandering, you are still in awareness. At this moment, you may realize something strange but true. The deeper you look, the weaker thoughts become. They are light, thin, like ripples on water. They only become strong when you believe they are real, when you fear them, or when you try to crush them. But when you simply observe without intervening, they immediately lose power. They become something incapable of manipulating you. This is the moment your mind begins to regain its mastery instead of being dragged around. Now try listening to the silence behind the sounds, the spaciousness behind the thoughts, the softness behind each breath. It is not a dramatic or intense feeling, but a very gentle, very ordinary state of presence, yet incredibly real. Many people practice for years just to return to this simple feeling, the sense that the mind is here, not rushing anywhere, simply present in this moment. And from that presence, let your whole body soften a little more, like water flowing to the lowest place. All tension from your shoulders, chest, belly, down to your fingers and toes can drop away because you no longer have to hold anything. When the body relaxes, the mind relaxes. When the mind relaxes, the layers of wandering thoughts fall away like sand settling at the bottom of a glass of water. The water becomes clear, and you see your own depth. Finally, when you reach this point, you understand that the goal of meditation is not to become someone without thoughts. but someone who is no longer controlled by thoughts. Wandering thoughts may come or go, but you remain there, like the sky behind the clouds. And when your mind understands this, you no longer fear thoughts or get swept away by them. You simply let them pass as they naturally pass. Take one last gentle breath, then exhale very slowly. This ending is not a full stop, but the moment you return to yourself, to the quiet that has always been there, just waiting for you to touch it. The journey in the game of breath will become more and more fascinating if you truly cherish it. This practice, just like a habit, is a key to unlocking every doorway within your body and mind. So keep watching and keep practicing with me in this video and the ones to come. If you have any thoughts or reflections, feel free to leave a comment below. And if this video helped or inspired you, please like, subscribe, and share it with others.